Welcome back to another episode of Take Two Reviews. My name is Ian. This is Chris. We took a little while on this episode just because we wanted to talk some spoilers, but we the other day we watched Captain.
Talk some shit.
Yeah. So the other day we watched Captain Marvel, and we've been Marvel fans since we were kids.
Day one.
Since Captain Marvel was a really highly anticipated movie, especially because Endgame is coming. And this was supposed to be the movie that sets up one of the main plot lines in the movie, which is Captain Marvel. It's set up the fact that she's pretty much the Superman of the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And I just gotta say, I don't think this movie cut it. So Captain Marvel, just to give you guys a brief summary, we go back into the past in this one as well. We go back to 1995, and Brie Larson's character. The Kree color Veers, we were thrown into the middle of the Kree Skrull War, and we're joined by Veers and her and the pretty much the squad that she's a part of, which has Jude Law's Jan Rog's character and a bunch of other characters. My first thoughts going in, this movie didn't have good trailers. I'll say that.
Every trailer that would come out. Well, how many trailers were there? Was two or three?
There's three. There's usually three.
I think it was three, and each of them were about the same, just a little cut differently.
Just cut differently, same scenes, and it relied heavily on nostalgia, which
Totally.
Blockbuster, Radio Shack, we saw all that in the movie.
I thought it was gonna be between that. I wasn't expecting it to be awful. I wasn't expecting it to be great. I was just it's just gonna be subtle. It's gonna be decent and take us into Endgame.
Yeah,
pretty much it did.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be just like an Ant-Man and the Wasp situation, where it was, but instead this time it was just going to be her origin, and we were going to go into Endgame this is why she's important.
Yeah.
And I just a little pros about this movie. I feel like this movie was I don't think this movie was bad. Let me get that the first part of that down. I don't think this movie was bad.
You could definitely go and enjoy it. It is an enjoyable film with some decent sequences and some fun characters.
What did you like about the movie?
I was enjoying the 90s nostalgia music. The soundtrack was a little fun, but then after half of the movie, you're kind of over it already. You're I get it. We're 90s kids, super throwback. You know what I mean? But that's all I had going for me. I mean, I liked her powers. I definitely like who she is. But that's about it.
I guess we could get into cons. I feel like we can't get into cons without throwing out a few spoilers. So from here on out, if you guys are watching, spoilers. First things first. What did you think? What were your cons about this movie?
I was very annoyed of a lot of the characters. That, Brie Larson is an amazing actor who's just very dry. There's not a lot of depth to her character. She has this punk rock attitude in the movie where it's tough girl, we get it, she's different than the rest and strong and whatnot, Miss Independent, but she never changes throughout the movie, and that's kind of one of my problems. She learns her powers, and this whole identity issue she deals with throughout the movie, not knowing who she is, I didn't sympathize with. There wasn't any emotional connection to it.
Let's talk about some continuity issues that I had a problem with. Number one was the fact that Fury calls Shield
At this time.
Yeah, at this period in time. Let's go back to Iron Man 2, where we meet Coulson for the first time. I believe it is Coulson for the first time, and he says he's talking to Tony Stark, and he's telling him, I'm not going to say the whole name because frankly I don't have every single letter acronym memorized, but I specifically remember him saying that this organization is called this, and he's you need an acronym for that. He's yeah, we're working on it. In this movie, right away, Fury goes, I'm working for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, what's that? Is that from S.H.I.E.L.D.?
So that's first kind of okay, you guys clearly messed that up, and you guys, it was obviously the mistake was realized after the movie was made, and we're we can't.
I feel I can get over it, but it is rather annoying that we can't keep some strong continuity or consistency, I should say, throughout these movies. I don't think it's that hard to go back and look at details.
How
many people do you have working on these films?
This was my biggest gripe about this film. The Skrulls. Marvel readers can go back to Secret Invasion, where a lot of Marvel characters were in this Marvel universe at the current time period. It came out that some of them were Skrulls the entire time. Skrulls were evil from the very beginning, and this movie flips it. Granted, the Kree were always a pain in the ass in the comics, but it flips it entirely and says the Skrulls are refugees trying to get away from the Kree, and this is the purpose of this war, is they just want to get away.
Yeah.
No, you can't. No, I don't buy that at all. They had potential. There's so many theories and there's so much potential to be like, hey, one of these Avengers is a Skrull. One of these Avengers, the Avengers have been infiltrated the whole time. Earth has been infiltrated, and that could like set up for an entire storyline based off a Secret Invasion.
Yeah, and especially because I thought the Skrulls were probably one of the better parts of this movie, because they're actually kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like the fact that what they can do, they can transform into different people. You know what I mean?
This goes back to like another current problem that I've always had with these Marvel movies, with the exception of Infinity War and Black Panther, and I'm gonna say Guardians because Ronan was kind of a dick. But Marvel has a villain problem. Marvel has a problem where you don't know what the threat is. The threat is just a continuous. Yeah, they say it's a threat, but it's a lot of laughing, a lot of joking. Granted, I get that this is a family movie. I guess it's aimed towards kids because kids are gonna grow up watching these movies. I don't think that until like Thanos, until like Killmonger, they haven't had a lot of good villains, especially like Ultron. They hyped Ultron up.
A lot of people say that Ultron was good in like the first act of that Avengers movie, Age of Ultron, and then the rest of it is kind of like
and this is the problem in this movie, is that you had General Telos, which is the leader of the Skrulls, which is played by Ben Mendelsohn. Great actor, by the way.
Yeah,
he's always a bad guy. He was bad guy in Ready Player One. He was bad guy in Rogue One.
He's very good at being like snaky and, you know.
And this movie was, even when we thought he was a bad guy, he was just kind of like, just like kind of like joking around and just kind of like not taking anything serious. Not even like their plight to like, we need to get away from these dudes. We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's a problem that I had.
I had a problem with it, them making it so family fun orientated. Like, it's just like a feel good family movie all of a sudden. It went from I didn't feel like this was a Marvel movie. It just felt like there was a drama. It was a drama movie, and then it turned into like some nice heartwarming family movie. I was like,
yeah. And it kind of feels like they ripped like different pieces of different Marvel movies. Like the whole like nostalgia thing, I feel like they've kind of just been playing on that nostalgia train ever since.
They were counting on that hard in this movie.
Ever since Guardians of the Galaxy. And to hit the nostalgia train even more, there is literally a scene in this movie. It is a dogfight scene between Brie Larson's character and Jude Law's character in this
desert canyon area.
Yeah, and I'm sitting next to Chris and I'm thinking like, that's
familiar.
I was like, why does this look familiar? And then it popped in my head. I was like, this is the same scene in Independence Day when Will Smith is in the dogfight with the aliens through the canyon.
Yeah, the same
scene for scene,
sequence,
same things that happened, and I was like, wow.
Also, we couldn't be accurate on her powers.
She gets her powers from my understanding from the comics. I'm not saying that this is a problem.
Yeah. Again, I want to say this too, real quick. I don't have a problem with movies going far from comics because I'm a strong believer, like, it's not a comic, it's a film, and it works differently. I agree. But I do think you should take some from it and be related to it. You know what I mean? Not 100%, but...
And this wasn't a problem for me. I get it. But they gender swapped Mar-Vell. Mar-Vell is supposed to be a man. And Mar-Vell in the comics gave Carol Danvers his powers when he dies, similar to when his name escapes me right now, but the same way Hal Jordan got his powers in Green Lantern. But I see where they had to make it fit the hyperdrive that they're trying to get in this movie that Mar-Vell created to transport to other sides of the galaxy is the Tesseract. It makes sense that the energy from the stones we already see can create like superhumans. So
Yeah.
the engine blowing up and giving her powers makes sense. Okay, they got that right. But it's never very, like you said before, it's never clear on how strong she is, because one minute she's powered up like she's like a Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z, destroys all these ships, flies through these ships, and is whooping ass in space. But literally, like, the next scene or the scene before, I can't remember, it escapes me, she's getting her ass kicked by
Kree
people,
soldiers.
by Kree soldiers who have no powers or just as strong
And
as.
they're like giving her a run for her money. Like she's getting hurt. Like you think like, oh damn, like she's getting her ass kicked.
Yeah, it's never.
They almost got her.
It's kind of similar to like the first Hulk movie, where we're never really sure how big Hulk is. Overall, like, this movie is just not what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to.
This is an Ant-Man versus the Wasp movie where it's a nice filler. It's nice to watch, but it's not important, and you only need the last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
to see who the character is, why they matter, and then the end credit that is the bridge to the next movie.
And
to Endgame. It all connects to Endgame.
Fury's eye. Dumb.
This movie plays on a lot of, like, not only the 90s nostalgia, but a lot of whimsical humor and a lot of, like, you silly kind of humor, and you're just like.
I personally thought that this movie was going to explain, because the trailer showed Fury as like this really like positive, happy dude. I thought this movie was going to be partly explain how he got so cold. And I thought, okay, someone has to die, someone close to us to die. We never see any of that. We just see that he's like, and he's not upset about his eye getting burnt out. Like, he's just like, oh, well, it's a cute little kitty. Oh, look at the cute little kid. There was a lot of controversy with this movie. A lot of controversy saying that this movie was basically saying it was sexist.
I want to just say right now, this controversy is just unnecessary and unimportant. It does not matter whatsoever right now. Please go watch the movie, and after the movie you'll be like, yeah, I don't know why we went on that Facebook rant.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
it's not worth it.
I get it. I will say this though. This movie is the Last Jedi of the Marvel Universe. Yeah. Not saying that it's a bad movie, but I'm saying that this movie messes up the continuity a little bit, because I feel like this movie, they're really focused on, like, we need a girl superhero that girls could like, that girls can connect with, that proves that girls can be badass, like,
by all means, which is important and
great, but there was no like heart to the character. DC did it better, because in Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, there's a specific scene in Wonder Woman where she has to cross the trenches, and you feel that that inspiration of her getting out of the trench, blocking all these bullets. You felt that. There was no type of emotional response in this movie. It was very like bland. It was very dull.
Even like her, like Brie Larson's character getting hurt, and like you think it's the end of her, whatever. You're just like, oh, okay. We already know you're gonna make it out. Like, we already know you're fine, and you know where this is going.
Yeah. Overall, final thoughts of the movie, Chris.
Thank you, Marvel, for introducing Captain Marvel. We got what we needed, and we'll see her in Endgame. That's all I care about.
As for me, I would say wait for this movie to come out on Blu-ray, but there is importance to this movie. If you're a Marvel fan, if you're a cinematic universe fan, you kind of need to watch this movie. And I say go watch it, but don't have high expectations, because it's really, really disappointing, because I wanted to see so much more out of this movie, and I believed in this movie so much, and well, it really let me down.
It is enjoyable. I mean, if you want to have a fun day with the family.
Yeah, because that's what this movie aims towards.
It's an average movie. It's an average movie. It's decent. It's enjoyable. But again, don't expect it to be any like Spider-Man movie or Thor Ragnarok. It's not going to be anything like that.
All right, guys. Tell us what you thought of Captain Marvel. Leave a like, comment down below. Make sure to hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.